Good evening, everybody. Very excited tonight coming to you. We're on our Element 7. It's going to be fun tonight. We're going to be able to spend some time and really talk about creating a leptogenic world. So I'll wait just a couple moments while everybody joins us. If anybody has any comments or questions while we're waiting, we got 4 minutes before it's the top of the hour. So I would be glad to answer any questions. I want to congratulate all of you who have just really done a great job. We've got so many great stories coming in, and people are really focusing on changing their health and changing their life. It's amazing now how what we're doing together and how we're helping people is just so appreciated. And our coaches and people using the Habits Health system and people that are really now have a plan seem to be grounded. They feel like they're going in the right direction. And tonight, when we talk about a leptogenic world, I'll tell you what that means in just a moment, and you can spend some time on it. But if anybody has any questions, we've got about 3 minutes before we get started. So let me see if we have any questions coming in here. Anything specific you guys want to ask me while we're waiting? It's 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 uh, it's getting into that season, isn't it? It's a couple weeks, 3 or 4 weeks before we have Thanksgiving, and then we start into the holiday season. And this holiday, just like everything else this year, is going to be totally different. And hopefully, we'll still be able to get together with our loved ones because that's so important for us, that contact, that real contact. But in the meantime, things like we're doing tonight is connecting as a community and helping each other and working forward. It just really makes a difference to feel connected at a time when the world, we know we need to have isolation in some ways, and the other ways we can connect and really focus on what's important most in our life. So very excited about that. Since there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead and get go. Oh, holiday tips for the mindset. Okay, yeah, that's a great one. So one thing that's really good is that if you have now learned to take that locus of control, and we talked about this in element 4, thinking about taking back that control. In other words, most people think, oh no, it's the holidays, or oh no, I'm going to Aunt Susie, and Aunt Susie makes the best pecan pies. And it could be anything outside you, but the first realization that you are in control. And we're going to talk about the leptogenic world, some of the things you can do tonight. But just an example, before you're going to someone's house like that you know is going to make all these crazy things, eat something. Eat something so you're not starving. Because if you see all those amazing things and you're starving, it's just like going to the grocery store. Never go to the grocery store stressed or hungry. The same thing. When you go to Thanksgiving or to these meals, make sure you eat something. And then understanding in the first 3 bites comes 95% of our taste satisfaction. So we can really make a difference, still enjoy those things, but really spend more of the time socializing because we all crave that so much. So I'm going to go ahead and get going now. So we're on element 7, which is basically creating a new leptogenic world. And as we connect to our 6 macro habits, which we've been talking about, the basic 6th one is our surroundings, how we can change our surroundings. Now, in previous elements, we talked about how we can work to modify our relationships and stay away from maybe the people that would be problematic, those accomplices, and make sure our friends, people that do care that we're getting healthy, that support us. And so really, there's so many things we can do. The word comes from, well, it started with the word obesogenic, which in the 70s and early 80s, when Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola went from basically using sucrose and had little bottles, 8-ounce bottles, which you probably don't remember, to now 64 ounce of these big gulps. They modified and used high fructose corn syrup. It was very cheap and they could make these things huge. But in that period, we started making all these energy dense foods full of ultra processed food, unhealthy, and with that, and then sedentary lifestyle and stress, the combination of those 3, and stress also includes, we'll talk about sleep, because sleep is also an important part of it, but those things together created a world where all of a sudden we start gaining weight, and start gaining weight in a hurry. And you can watch that obesogenic world, and by the late 80s, 68% of us were overweight and obese, and it's now 70%, so we really haven't made much headway in general on that. We certainly have in our community, and we'll talk about some of the things we do with that. But leptogenic means thin. Lepto, we have leptin. Leptin is a key hormone that's modulated in our fat cells that tells us when we're full so we don't continue to eat. It's a very important hormone, so the word comes from the Latin word thin. So how do we create a thin world for ourselves? Because we can't leave it up to willpower. And in fact, if we try to do that, we put ourselves in position to potentially fail many times. When those times when we're just tired, we don't we're not thinking well, we're exhausted, and we're looking for comfort, and that survival mode kicks in, and we end up eating something wrong. So in this element, it should take about a week. We're going to talk about the key things of time and place. It's really important to understand that we have to sense where we are in terms of our day, in terms of the time of the day, and also in terms of where we are physically. Where are we located? Are we putting ourselves in environments which can be unhealthy for us? So we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about willpower. Now, willpower, it's a very interesting thing because I've done several studies on willpower, and there's some new stuff coming out that says, well, it may not be as prevalent as it was, but this is what we do know. We know that if someone, basically, they took students and they put them in a classroom. They were coming in to do a study. They were asked to volunteer for a study. And they came in, before they went into the actual laboratory, they had a pre-test, and the test was they were asked to solve a very simple arithmetic equation, like, what's 17 plus 24, something relatively easy. And then they gave the answer, and they thought that was the test, and then they went into a lunchroom where they had all kinds of food. They had salads and fruits, beautiful, healthy vegetables, and then they had things like hot fudge, and chocolate chip cookies. And it was interesting. One control group was not asked the question before they went, and the other was. The one that was asked the question was much more likely, I think it was something like 3 times more likely, to eat the bad things, not to eat the good things. So imagine that, and I can think of it. I remember myself in college and medical school, internships, residencies. I know sometimes up all night taking care of sick people, stressed out. You would go down to the cafeteria. No, I wouldn't eat the salad. I would eat the thing that was going to give me a little bit of pleasure and enough energy to get through the night. So I know when my girls, they're both in college, and they're very disciplined in what they eat. They're in great shape. But come exam week, they're in PJs, their hair's undone, no fluff, no makeup, and they're eating pizzas, right? So it's important to start to understand that when we put ourselves and when we are tired, we need to know where we are and how we modify ourselves in order to make a difference. So that's the first thing. The second thing, which I love, is I've created kind of a way of thinking about your day. And in element 8, we'll talk more about it. We'll talk more about the Habits of Health clock. But basically right here, we're talking about all the different things that happen during our day. And if you can see those hours at the top, those 8 hours, those are the hours where we want to select our sleep. And we're going to talk in a moment about how we can help improve our sleep, because it's very important. When we sleep well, we're more likely to make good decisions. We're less likely to get upset. We're more likely to minimize our stress, and we're more likely to be healthier. So those 8 hours of sleep, we've talked about it before, but they're so critical. They kind of set the foundation for the 24 hours in your day. And also, when you go to sleep at night, the hour before sleep, and we'll talk about this, it's important to kind of settle down and not eat a bunch of rich food, not watch blue light, whether that's your computer, your iPhone, or whatever device you have, and to start going into the ritual of getting ready for sleep. So that's important. And then the third thing is to understand that in the different segmented areas, we can make changes that can help you improve those areas. So let's talk first about our food environment. We build our willpower at the grocery store. If you are at the grocery store, you're going around the periphery, you're selecting, eliminate ultra-processed food. Don't bring home those tempting things that are ultra-processed. And if you look down and it has 20, 30 ingredients on it, that's ultra-processed food. And it's white sugars, it's white flours, it's rices, it's things that just are immediately absorbed and turned into sugar in your body. They raise your insulin. They basically then lower your glucose, and then you crave, and you build that addictive strategy where you're just looking for those things. That's why it's so important to eliminate those things. If you don't bring them home, unless you're really addicted to something, at night when you're stressed out or something's going on, or you got a bad phone call, or you have to stay up late and do the extra work, you're not going to go in and be tempted. So we want to buy our willpower at the grocery store. That's the first thing. The second thing, we want to look at the areas where we prepare and store our food. So go into your pantry. And basically, in the element, I'm not going to go through the details of it, but eliminate all the bad stuff we talked about. And if you have kids or someone that's not ready to, hopefully that will also have your family eat healthier, which is, we love our family. We want them to be healthy. It's the most important gift we can give them is teach them to eat fruits and vegetables and not eat these sugary foods. You can have something like 3.5 pounds of broccoli basically is the same amount of calories as a Snickers bar. So if you think about that, wow. So I can really fill myself up on broccoli for about a week versus just that one moment where I eat that sugary Snickers bar has the same energy density. So it's important to make sure we're getting rid of these ultra processed things. The next thing is if someone in your family isn't ready to join you on this journey towards better health, make sure they put those things away. They're out of sight. They're hidden. They're at lower levels so you don't see them. You want to put the food you're going to eat, you want to have it in the shelves right in front of you so you can see it. You want to make sure that everything you do inside your refrigerator, that you eliminate all the sodas, you eliminate all the sweet stuff, and you basically put in there healthy fruits and vegetables. Same thing in your freezer. You want to get rid of all those frozen things that are full of sugar, and you want to basically replace that with things like, healthy lean meats, and if you eat meat, or seafoods, and shrimp and things like that can be really helpful. So that's the second part. You want to make sure you replace, and when you do it, write it down. That's an accomplishment, and it's something you've done to help improve yourself. So that's the first thing, doing that within your food and within your refrigerator and within your eating areas. And the same thing, when you go out to eat, do not go into restaurants that are barbecues, that are fast food restaurants. Even if they have healthy options, I will tell you that if you go in, the statistics show very clear. If you go into one of those that now advertising their new healthy salad, but they serve these triple hamburgers with cheese on them and bacon and everything else and fries, basically you will not pick something healthy because the temptation is that you're restricting yourself and you're not able to enjoy something you enjoy. So don't give it a chance. Don't go into those restaurants. And when you go to a restaurant, think about sharing a couple appetizers or sharing one meal, making sure that you're not eating those heavy sauces, and asking for the chef to cut off the extra fat and things. All those things can be so helpful for you to help avoid that temptation. And the other thing is, make sure you can do things like this. If you have a regular meal, ask for it to go and put half the meal in that. Basically, so you only eat the portion, so you're eating half, you're enjoying it, having all the tastes and flavors, enjoying the social part, but you're not overeating, because we will eat everything that's on our plate unless we hate it. Otherwise, we don't want that to happen. The same thing going back to your refrigerator. When you're at your refrigerator and you're getting rid of leftovers, if you have healthy leftovers, put them in saran wrap. Put them in something you can see them. If they're unhealthy, put them in aluminum foil so you can't see them, so you're not tempted by them. And what I do is I just throw them out. If there's anything that I've eaten, that's not healthy, or my kids have brought it home, soon as they're not there, I throw all that stuff out, because I know some of the stuff they have still looks good and I would eat it, but I know to choose not to eat it. So that's really important. So the other thing I want to do while we're still talking about the pantry, I want to go over, there's 4 things. And if you go to page, we've got it on page 174. In 174, we go through 4 things you can do in terms of storage. First, smaller plates, 9-inch plates. Reduce your plates. If you go to your grandparents into their kitchen or their dining area, and you look at their plates and look for the plates that were their dinner plates look like they're the little saucer plates, right? They're the smaller ones. That's the size of plate that we ate 30, 40 years ago. We didn't eat these massive. So go to a 9-inch plate. Second of all, use colored plates. Use green plates. Because green plates, you put all the green vegetables and things on them, and it's okay, but they contrast with the things that aren't healthy for us. So for instance, never use white plates and serve mashed potatoes or rice, because the portion size, basically, you can't tell, and so it seems like it's not that big. Put it on a contrasting plate. That's the second thing. Third thing, basically, serve from the kitchen only. Just like we were talking about portion. In the kitchen, put it on the plates, put the plates on the table, and basically don't go back for more. In fact, don't go back for more. That helps a lot. And then the fourth one is water. You can put an extra pitcher of water on the table, because that's awesome. And then basically put glasses. We know 30% of the time when we're hungry, we're actually thirsty. And then if we drink more water, we feel a sense of being filled. And so it makes it much easier for us to do that. So hopefully that's helpful. Okay, then I want to go on to basically, let's talk a little bit about our bedrooms. So we talked about how important it is. There's a direct relationship between our health and how well we sleep. Direct relationship. In fact, our health is probably the thing, at least for myself, that allows me to thrive and be able to do the things I could do the same as I could 20, 30 years ago, because I get great night's sleep and I get a chance to recuperate, which really helps. But to do that, again, creating a leptogenic world so you're more likely to get a good night's sleep. It starts with, that twilight hour, the hour before bed. Like I said, shut everything down, take a nice hot bath, which is great because it raises your core temperature a little bit and then allows it to drop, which naturally stimulates melatonin, your natural latency into your sleep cycle. Then make sure your room is cool, 68 or below. Make sure it's dark as can be, no noise, and make sure that when you get in bed, that's the only thing you're doing. You're either kissing or you're sleeping. Those are the only two things you should be doing when you're in your bedroom. So hopefully that's helpful. And then the other is with your car. We get up in the morning. If you want to set your alarm so you get up early enough so you're not in chaos. You're not running, grabbing something unhealthy, chaotic, not planning your day. Create that model morning where you decide today, these are the things I'm going to do to keep me healthy, that are going to help me be more successful in my job, my occupation. These are the things that I want to accomplish by the end of the day. And then when you get to your twilight hour that evening, you can look back and say, wow, look at the things I accomplished. And just 2 or 3 small things that you accomplished can give you this sense of just fulfillment and have you feel so much better. So we want to do that. But when you leave, don't drive by Dunkin' Donut, or don't drive by Krispy Kreme or any of that stuff and load up on caffeine and sugar. That's the worst thing you can do to start your day. So don't even go that way. Drive a different way. Don't stop. Make sure you're fueled the night before. Don't stop by a gas station where you go in and there's 18,000 temptations. Make sure you're now organizing your life around what matters most. So anyway, those are just some of the tips. And basically, one last thing I wanted to kind of go over here while we were here is talk a little bit about when you're thinking about the things that are bad for you, the habits of disease. You want to make those harder to do. So by, again, not driving by a place, not going into a restaurant that's unhealthy, not bringing stuff into your house. That way you're modifying the place. Second, the times. Understand time and when is time important. And when you're in a hurry, make sure you're basically not succumbing to mindless eating, mindless thinking. And that's the other thing. Don't eat in front of the TV. Don't eat on your computer. Spend that time, especially now when we, hopefully have our families at home with us. Spend that time and put those things down. We do, as I mentioned earlier, we do a phone stack and just put the phone away. Don't allow anybody, if someone does it, make sure if you're at a restaurant, they pay for dinner, or make sure they do the dishes if you're at home. It doesn't matter what it is, but just figure something out so people are thinking, you know what, I'm here with my family and I'm basically keeping myself healthy. So with that, this has been awesome. Congratulations on all the work you guys are doing. Really, really excited. Next week is our final element, our element 8. We're going to get into eating every 3 hours, and many of you that have been on the program, helping yourself create healthy, are going to be excited because we're kind of reaching that landmark area where you're in momentum now. You can go back and look at these lessons anytime you want, and we'll continue to do stuff like this in the future. But I can tell you, take the time every day, plan your day, and at the end of your day, congratulate yourself by basically saying, job well done, pour yourself a hot bath, do something that actually augments your health rather than rewarding yourself with food. Remember, nothing tastes as good as food feels. Nothing feels as good as, nothing feels as good, nothing tastes as good as food, as healthy weight feels. Man, I messed that up. I haven't said it in a while. But anyway, love you guys. Let's go out and get ourselves, our families, and our communities healthy. Let's prepare to help bring back health and well-being into our country and around the world. God bless, guys. Good night.